And I'll throw you a curve on this one. If you count the letters in your name, and we'll just say it ends up being 18 for the sake of it, you could know that every 18 years there will be a major change in that individual's life.
Did you push record?
Thank you so much for tuning into our second act with Paige and Silka.
For your second act of life. Hey, Silka.
Hi, Paige. Well, this is a special show today. We have a guest at your home, a guest and friend, Patricia Kirkman, as how you refer to her, the Queen of Numerology. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm delighted to be here with you two lovely ladies.
Well, we are so excited to have you on because Paige and I did a show on numerology last year, and it was very popular. You know, at this time of year, as you well know, everybody's focused on the new year, what's going to happen. How do we use numerology as a tool? And you have some specific stuff we want to talk about today, so I'm going to let Paige take over and lead this conversation.
All right.
Well, that was actually a really great lead-in, Silka, because I'm going to turn it over to Patricia as far as I've learned from Patricia, which we did in our prior show. You know, 2018, there's a global number for the global year. Then we have our personal number. But then Patricia has taught me something that I find very interesting and I believe that people really want to know about. And it's how does our name, how do we have our consonants and the vowels in our name show a number and tell us really who we are, where we're going, what we need to do next. So I'm going to let Patricia kind of start out with where she wants to begin first, and we'll kind of just play it off together, Patricia. So where would you like to lead?
Well, I think we should start out with the new year.
Sounds good.
I think the new year is a good place to start for everyone. It is going to be a universal 2-year, regardless of what our personal things are. And I'll make it easy for others if they want to know what their personal year is. Take your month of birth, day of birth, add them together, reduce to a single number, and add to the universal 2. That will tell you what your personal year is for 2018. Gives everybody a whole new approach to what's happening when they know it's about them personally. I think what's important for everyone is that I'm going to say that finding out where they fit is the most important thing we want out of our life. Our first vowel, first consonant of our name tells us who we are. So if you learn what the numbers represent by the letters, when you meet somebody, you're going to know who they are before you even get into much of a conversation.
So let's have an example of a name, Patricia, that we can use so we can show somebody who, you know, how this works. So what name would you like to choose?
Well, what about our lovely hostess?
Silka, how do you feel about that?
Okay, I'll be the guinea pig.
Okay. The first name is our physical self, where we live, where we work, what we do. For information, which we're not going to look at right now, but the middle name is the emotional side, and the last name is the spiritual side handed down to the generations. But going back to the first name, because it's who we meet, it's what we do, it's where we are in this lifetime. So by looking at that right off the bat, we get a better handle on who you are, we'll say. The SI becomes a 1. So you're a very independent soul. You like to do it your way. And you're a very good leader. Okay? Like it or not, you are. Okay. So then we take a look at how the other numbers revolve around the letters in the given name at birth. So that being said, the numbers in your name would be 1, 9, 3, 2, and 5. So what we end up with is a 2 as the key number for the given name at birth. That 2 says, although you're very in charge because of the first letter, you're also very much a good partner and a team player. And you like things done perfectly. Oh, you're on top of things. See how they are?
Oh, perfection is her middle name.
Oh, yes.
And great team player.
Yes.
Great team player.
So that's just a combination of how we look at things. So the first vowel, first consonant, and if you know the entire given name, you can take and add the letters together. And it's so easy once we get a chance to find this out. Because you can meet somebody and immediately you get a feel for who they are. Just by the first 2 letters.
And see, that's what I'm getting like to the practical side of it. As much as I like to hear about me, I'm wondering how our viewers, well, as you said, we're going to link to your information to where they learn how to calculate what their name means. But I guess what I hear you saying is that this is how we apply that. Maybe it's not even so much knowing ourselves, but the ability to know somebody else. Would you agree with that?
Oh, if you're hiring someone, don't you want to get a feel for who they are before you sit down and start to take a look at the paperwork? The same way when you're out in socializing. When you meet someone for the first time, the first impression you may get because of the way they're dressed or the way they act, you'll think, oh, geez, don't want to get to know this person. But if you take a look at the name, you go, oh my gosh, this person has a lot to offer, and I can really connect with this individual.
And can I add something? Because
Please do.
Silke, how we're talking about relationships after 50 and the difficulty of dating, and been there, done that for so many of our viewers. So if you think about what Patricia is saying, when a name comes across, you can kind of look at that name and go, oh, okay, how does that kind of blend with who that person is with yourself? So here's another component that you can use it in dating as well.
Oh, definitely. And the other part of it, but looking at it on the dating side, odd, even numbers are more compatible. When you're taking the odd numbers, do better with the odd numbers, be compatible with such. But what makes it nice is, as you take a look at your chart and find out what numbers you have or don't have, and that would be by the letters in the given name, you could make a decision of, gee, that number is karmic for me. Oh, and that's their main number. I don't know if that's going to work so well. So right off the bat, you're put on alert to take a look a little more thoroughly instead of, gee, he's got a great job, drives a nice car, but now what do I do with him?
And you know me, Silke, you know what I'm going to add in this. Numbers are so important, but it's not the only way. You have to always trust your inner knowing and wisdom.
True.
Combined with numerology. That makes a great, partner.
Oh, definitely, definitely. And the thing is, when we have a given name at birth, all the letters in our name will revolve around a certain numbers. I do what I call a little tic-tac-toe chart. And in that, it will show us what numbers are missing or where we have to add something. And a missing number will show us our karmic lessons, or lessons that we're here to learn to do differently. We may have too much of one number, or insufficient, or none. All of those play a different effect on the individual themselves. So if a person who is a one personality, and we take a look at their full chart, they have an abundance of ones, we know they're going to be extremely headstrong and refuse to really want to be flexible. A person that is overly inundated with numbers that are two are ultra sensitive, and they don't know how to get their ego or self-esteem up. So they're kind of a poor, pitiful me. Now what do I do? Do you see where I'm coming from? And I'll throw you a curve on this one. If you count the letters in your name, and we'll just say it ends up being 18 for the sake of it, you could know that every 18 years there will be a major change in that individual's life.
Interesting.
Oh, yes, I'd be surprised to find that. So then 18 years after that, it would be the same type of thing. If you know what your numbers and letters are, you can tell exactly what it is that's going to happen.
Well, it's so interesting. Well, for somebody like me who doesn't, I'm fascinated with numerology, but I really don't know that much about it. So for somebody that doesn't, is not that familiar with it, like the question that comes to my mind, well, my parents gave me my name. So did my name influence my life, or did I? I mean, some people are getting some really weird names.
When it boils down to it is the given name at birth is our choice, because in the name, what's missing or overabundance of, those are our lessons. We know what we need to learn when we come down here. If we didn't, what would be the point of the trip, right?
So let me throw a little wrench in it.
Go for it.
I have clients who change their given name because they've never felt that their given name connects and is in alignment with themselves. So as you know, with me, Silke, from a soul perspective, them being connected with their inner knowing that this is not the name for them, over here is the name for them. And those are the true gifts, karmic lessons that they're supposed to learn. So I find that so interesting with what Patricia is saying, and knowing how some of my clients know that the name that they have is not the name that really they're supposed to have in this lifetime, on this particular path.
Very interesting.
I agree with what you're saying, but I will add a proviso to this.
Sure.
The name that we get is because there is something that we are here to learn how to do differently. It may not be our choice. Many times you'll meet someone and say, I can't stand my name. I just don't know why they gave me this. But it's the lesson that comes with having that name that's more important. So that goes back to the spiritual side as well.
Always.
So you never know what baggage we're carrying with us when we come in.
Right.
That knapsack sometimes gets to be overly heavy.
Interesting.
Well, we call it the red bag, don't we, Silka?
There is no doubt it's a red bag.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Well, again, to me, this is fascinating, and I could talk about this forever. We are coming to the end of our segment. Patricia, is there some some last minute advice you want to give? We are, of course, going to link to all of your information, and if anybody wants to get in touch with you directly and maybe have, consultation with you on this, they can certainly do so. But what do you want to leave our viewers with on this segment?
I think the most important thing that we could look at is if we know who we are, we could excel to the nth degree. And sometimes we have no idea how many positive things we have in our red bag.
Oh, I like that.
Well, perfect. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, and we'll see you soon again on another episode of Our Second Act with Paige and Silka.
For your second act of life.
That's right. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Happy
Bye-bye.
New Year. Bye-bye. So glad you were able to join us today. Be sure to tune in next time when we continue our conversation with Patricia. And in the meantime, if you want to take a shot and calculate your own personal number, click on the link right next to me. It's a conversation we had with Paige last year. And if you haven't already done so, please be sure to subscribe to our channel. Button's right over here. Thank you.